friends, another flip through and review. This time we're gonna show you some traditional art courses for your middle schooler and high schooler. Yes, I have it all. I have a lot to show you. There is so much to it. It's more than art appreciation. There is opportunities to delve deep into their art portfolios, or maybe you're just satisfying a required course. Stick around with me.
Foggy mornings are where I begin. Conversations I can never win, but it's not a competition. Though if it was, I'm losing.
Welcome back, friends. If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Arlene with Arlene and Company. As I said before, we're going to explore traditional taught art courses. I have the series all the way from middle school for 6, 7, and 8, and I also have the high school. So I'm going to put some timestamps down below. So if you're only interested in high school, you can skip to that point. But we're going to work our way up. So I'm going to show you the ones that are for middle school and how they differ, and then where it picks up with ArtTalk, and I think there's a new edition and such. These were sourced used through thrift books, and that's pretty much where you're going to find them. A lot of times you can even find the student texts or stuff like that on Amazon or eBay or all the used places. And I mean, I feel like the series was very easily you can purchase a student text straight from the publisher directly, and they will let you purchase that. The teacher ones, not always. Typically no. So those are the ones that you have to kind of source use. So I'm going to show you one of the teacher manuals for the middle school, and then the teacher manual also for the high school course, and that way you can see, is it worth your time trying to find the teacher one? Does it give you more than you need from the student text and so on? So we're going to dig into all that. All right, so we have Glencoe ArtTalk. This is your high school course, and then we have a series with the middle schooler, and let's go through that. Immense amount of resources for studying art in the homeschool world. We know this, we've used them, we love them. You know, a lot of times you see like a lot of art studies and just on specific artists or a specific art form. Now we are also Waldorf inspired, which means that art is infused. I think I just broke it down. Art is infused into every single subject pretty much, except for math. Once upon a time, it was infused in math too. Now, just no. Just I want nothing to do with you. I am fine without the math. Okay, so I outsource math like no other. So that's not what I do anymore. What I want, especially with an artist in my hand, and I've been asked like, what kind of resources have you done through the years? Because you know, my daughter's a gifted artist. You know, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying because I have to take extra steps to support that and to challenge her and to allow her to grow in her craft. So like any other subject, if your child is gifted in a certain area, you kind of have to take certain measures. And I remember one of master level classes that she took when she was only 6, and she was bumped up from in the art museum to the teen class, and she was 6 years old. It was like crazy and amazing. Anyways, the art director pulled me aside and she made me promise. She's like, you need to foster. When this comes across to us, we just, you know, we really want you to foster this. She has a gift and stuff. So they're like, you know, make sure she has the appropriate supplies, make sure she has the, you know, courses to like, you know, grow into her craft. And that is something that we have kept in our hearts ever since, and we've made sure to foster that, just like my son and his cooking ambitions and stuff like that. So anyways, so as having a child, maybe she'll go into the science field because science is also her strength, but she's also an artist. I just wanted to make sure that we had these foundational things. So we have this, and then also I have the art high school course for her. This is not the course that she would use. This is for my son, which is, you know, art is not his favorite. It's, you know, he's fine with it, but I wanted him to have that foundation as well. And then she tags along when he's doing his art lessons, just because she'll do anything that's to do with art. This is in one of the teacher guides, so you can see. So the art series is broken up into 3 books for your middle school: Introducing Art, Exploring Art, and then Understanding Art. So you're gonna see, and we're gonna look inside each one so you can see the progression of how art is taught. Like in one of the level is taught through history. One of the level is by art medium, and one of, you know, it's explored in different ways, and then it builds on each other. Now, saying that, it's pretty simple for you to, you don't have to go in this order. It does build nicely as it goes in this order, especially if you're using this for a non-artsy child. Then it's a nice build up. If not, if you're just interested in doing understanding art first, it may be a little silly to go from understanding art back to introducing art. But if you're starting this in 6th grade, this is the order that it is recommended that you take: introducing art, exploring art, and understanding art. We're going to look at the teacher manual later on. All right, so introducing art, then exploring art, then understanding art. So let's look at introducing art first. Obviously, you're not going to have access to those online things that your students will have access to if you were doing this in a regular school. You're not going to have access to that, but that's fine. You know, is it cool to have those multimedia connections to it? Sure. But it's not the case. Now, the latest edition, and don't quote me if I'm wrong, make sure you just double check for yourself. The latest edition of this is 2007 edition. ArtTalk, the high school one, the latest edition is 2005, and then Art in Focus, I think, is what replaced it, and that edition is 2006. All right, I just like to let you know that, because if you're trying to get the teacher manual, you want to make sure that you get the same edition so you don't have to really be searching for stuff. All right, so obviously these pages are just contributions, and the way that these lessons are broken up is obviously within each chapter there's several lessons. So you're going to have opportunities for like the studio time to build a portfolio, and you're also going to have the art appreciation, and it also is going to satisfy some other areas like writing. Yes, there is writing in here. Have to do it all? No, absolutely not. You can pick and choose from this and whatever means to you, whatever you like, or just like follow along throughout. The first one is with the introduction, art in you, and what is art. Then you have an activity. Then you go into your next one, and then it says time for art, virtual art tours, and such on, and then a chapter review. So here for next chapter, I'm not obviously gonna go into every single little thing, but just want to give you an idea. Chapter 2, the elements of art. So the language of art. Activity is the picture writing. Then here is the next activities: wrapping paper design, color mixing. There is a lot of hands-on. I know that people normally, especially in the homeschool world, are afraid of textbooks, but sometimes they are pretty solid, and they can you know, give you a jumping off point even if you're not following it exactly. They really could be very useful, right? Especially if you're spread thin, or you have family, you know, mix of ages, and you need your kiddo to like go off and do something on their own independently, but you still want to give those enrichment classes. This is something that the student text, he can follow this along very independently. Obviously, if you have a child that is not very artsy and they're trying to do these different things, you definitely want to model that. At least that's my take, but you don't have to. Then the principles of art. So we're going to talk about those, you know, those concepts that a lot of times are covered when you do those picture studies and things like that. I know for a fact, with you guys know, I work with Christina from Blossom and Root. She has those art studies that have been phenomenal. Love it, because you know, you're studying the art, the artist, the art form, and then you're recreating your own interpretation. And I think that's a very beautiful way to learn those concepts. But also she touches on those different you know, art concepts and media. So, but if you have like elementary age or even like early middle school and stuff like that, I still recommend with Boston and Root. Obviously I know I work but I mean, even before I did, I was always a fan. But this is for those families that just need to just, you know, have something that is, you know, just laid out, and that the child can follow independently, and that it will build and will also satisfy, like for the high school one, satisfies an art credit without any doubt. Then this is for those families. If you do not like this format, then, you know, not for you. All right, so the principles and proportions, drawing a grid portrait, variety of emphasis, movement and rhythm and pattern, harmony, unity, and then here you have a studio time, which is mixed media weaving, and that's an option, and then you have a review. Then the next chapter would be art, media, and technique. So you have the drawing, the painting, and all that stuff, and then you have activities under each one. Then here you have looking at art, and you're gonna go into art criticism. I really love that nursing. I was an art person. I have a degree in graphic design and all that jazz. But anyways, perceiving nature, observing animals, portraying people, and experiencing architect. Now this one book will last you the entire school year, right? So if you're trying to like mix them up or whatever, you can like divide up the year and stuff, but this will generally last you all year. Examining objects, as you can see how many lessons are in each one, or how many readings, telling a story, celebrations, creating fantasy, and then the handbook. But so there is a total of 15 chapters, but each chapter has several lessons within it. So you can really easily span this over a year. If you're hitting this every single day and you want it to only last a semester, then yeah, it's definitely possible, but that would be like, I don't know. I feel like with art, especially, you want to give it time to marinate. All right, so studio lessons by media. So you have here like just a glossary of when they're going to touch on certain things. So maybe you are studying something in history that has to do with photography and you want to jump to that section, you definitely can do something like that. So here, for example, acrylic and tempera and watercolor, clay, digital media, found objects, mixed media, and pencil and pen and charcoal. So if you're working on something else and you want to jump into that type of art form, then you can definitely do that. Here tells you how to use this textbook. So you're going to have the quick write. So it make real world connections to art while practicing your writing skills. So this is what I was talking about, that it does have writing in it. So if you are trying to infuse more writing for your kiddo, but make it related to what they're studying, that is something that is already given to you. Then ready, set, read. Use important reading and writing skills while exploring artworks and key terms and previewing the text. Narrative lessons. These engaging lessons teach art concepts and the culture and historical backgrounds of many artworks, and then has to check understanding and stuff. Then the studio lessons, it's hands-on lessons, provide the opportunity to apply a variety of techniques and processes when working with a wide range of media to create original artworks. So that is included. This is not just art appreciation. It actually does include studio lessons as well. Meet the artist. So you're going to have some profiles to explore. Then time and place. It makes historical connections. So even in here, in the first one, which is introducing art, is going to have, even though that's not you're not following it by time period like another one, which I will show you, this will make those connections so they can follow along with maybe your history. Studio activities. So you have the studio lessons and then studio activities. This feature includes hands-on activities where you explore various art medium and techniques. It will help you quickly grasp ideas presenting in the lesson. So these are a little bit, this one more in depth, and this one is just like these quick activities. Connection, so you'll connect to other subjects as well. I mean, even math, social studies, and all that stuff. Time for art, and then a chapter review. What did you learn? Then it goes over, like, again, this is written to the child, so what the expectations are, how to connect, predict, and visualize. After you read, summarize and assess, reading do's and reading don'ts. It has all that jazz. So what is nice about this is, in a lot of times we're like, pulling out a lot of art pictures and stuff and trying to like source them or buy the prints and stuff. It's like all your images, as you can obviously see, these are full color and everything is right in here. Is it going to be like the most diverse collection that you've seen? No. I mean, it's a school book, textbook, right? So use it for what it gives you and add whatever you like and leave the rest. So right here, did you know? So it will have like, for example, like have an art piece, and then it will prompt a question of like something that, is lesser known, or maybe it is. And then it also has the information on the particular art piece and when it was drawn and the artist and dimensions and all that jazz. So here is an introduction to a chapter. So nice, beautiful, colorful. So even though we're in middle school, we're not ditching the colors, right? So art and you, here you have the introduction to that. And then here's where you have a quick write. So I'm going to read you these things from the first chapter just so you can get an idea. So creativity takes courage. Interpret the quote. Read the above quote. How is it courageous to create art? Explain in a brief paragraph. So Right here was the quote, creativity takes courage. So this is an opportunity for a quick write, as they call it. This is one of the things that you may not have access to, the art online. So go to artglencoe.com to learn about this artist. So you may not have that connection to make it super easy, but you know what they're trying to show you. So you can easily just look that up or have your child look that up for their own research. And then here on the side part is going to have like key terms. It's going to have before you read knowledge and stuff like that. And then it's going to have some indication of what to do with this. So if you do not want the teacher manual, you feel like you don't need that much in depth or stuff. For high school, if you're trying to do for high school credit, I do recommend you get the teacher manual. But if you don't need it, right here, instructions, obviously it's going to be up to you to fill in the gaps and answer and know if they're correct or not. So look closely, describe the colors and shapes you see. What do you think was the artist's purpose for creating this artwork, and explain. And this is something that can be like orally narrated. It doesn't have to be written. Then you have some key terms, and again, they can look these up, if they don't know what they mean. These are very basic, but it grows from there. Then you continue on. Now, when you have these key terms, you will notice that they're highlighted throughout, just like, those science texts that I showed you. If you missed that review, make sure to check that out. So what is art? And it breaks up in like chapters that in paragraphs that you're maybe used to, the type of art in your life, and makes those connections to make it personal, looking at art. And then you have like a studio activity. So develop a perceptual awareness. Practice developing your perceptual awareness using all of your senses. Look around your classroom or home and select any object. Take time to observe the object closely, studying it from different angles. Hold the object in your hands and think about how it feels. Does the object make noise? Does it have a taste or a scent? Now place the object out of sight and make a list of all the characteristics you remember. In your sketchbook, use the color pencils to create a picture that communicates what you perceived. So these are really deeply thought out prompts. And someone as an art major, I know it's such a switch, like art major, but I'm also a science major. Like, who does that? I do. Anyways, but somebody with an art major can deeply appreciate all the senses and stuff. I really appreciate that. I could go on forever, but I'm not. Anyway, so I really liked those touches of the studio activity. That really has me. All right, so portfolio. So use a creative strategies and your list of object characteristics to write a short poem describing your object. So you may or may not want to do this part, but it's there offering to you. Next, examine the artworks on this page. Each was created by a distinct culture. And then it tells you which figures, and for example, one is Peru over 1,000 years ago. Figure 1-3 was in the 19th century. Write a paragraph comparing the representative images from two cultures. So again, that cross-curricular connection of how they make the assignment. This is more than, okay, we're going to just write and we're going to recreate this art. No, we're going to get the child thinking. And I know you have a lot, like, especially like I say, like Blossom Memory really has you like with the prompts of thinking about the art, thinking about all the elements. And so stuff. As you can see, this one lesson can take a couple of days, right? Because you're breaking up, looking at the terms, you're really thinking about this part, then you're doing the studio activity, then if you incorporate the writing and stuff like that and checking on understanding. So you really, if you're on for a marathon and you want to finish it in one day, sure. But for the most part, I think that will take a couple of days, and you'll see how they break it up in the teacher manual. Again, here is the second lesson, and you'll see that, and it's just a nice variety of artwork. And even for its time, I think it does a pretty good job doing, some diverse. Is it the most diverse? No, but it tries. It tries very much so. Time for Art, virtual art look at different art museums across the country, and to dissect that into several different ways, and then locate the art museum website that interests you, then complete the following. So then it's going to have some certain prompts that are not just looking around, but they're looking. All right, so here is something that you may or may not want to do. If you're doing a high school course, this is something that will satisfy, and I'm not saying every place is the same, but I would satisfy giving them that credit. So building vocabulary, these are the questions. So this is where if you don't know this, A, you can look it up, or B, have the teacher manual, right? So building vocabulary, then you have cross curriculum connections, the social studies, using a variety of resources, research and discuss the role of visual arts in selected period of history. What type of art was created? How did the time period influence the type of art created? Write a summary of your findings. Now, I know one of the questions I'm going to be asked, can I use this with an elementary child? With some adjustment, unless your child's like really advanced in their English skills and literary in their ELA skills and stuff, some of these things may stump them a little bit or they can do it alongside with you. Some of this may be a little bit too much for an elementary age child, and the way that the art is dissected and visualized. There's others, a textbook series that for the elementary child that does a pretty good job as well. So I wouldn't necessarily try to adapt this for elementary child, because as you can see, the prompts can be very involved, and I just think let's not stress them out when it comes to art, right? So I would reserve this for middle school. All right, so reviewing art facts, and then it has questions on that. What did you learn? And again, you can choose to make this a writing or an oral review, however you like. So this is how it continues on. Again, you have the quick write, ready, set, read. So those elements, studio activity, check understanding, and the lessons continue. So I just will flip through this really quick. So you can, that's pretty. And this is when you're like going hunting online. And then of course, you can be with your child as they're researching anything online for safety reasons, or however you like to do it. So this is the first one, introducing art, and it is going through the elements of art, and that's how they're exploring the year. So now let's go to the next one, and then you have the glossary at the end, just any terms and things like that, artists and their works, and then it will show you what page they are. So maybe you're looking for specific artists that you're studying at some point in history. You can quickly look on here and see if their artwork is represented in this book. All right, so again, here are the chapters. If you want a screenshot, this is what it includes in this introducing art. Now we're going to go into exploring art. So now you're going to see the difference, and now I'm going to show you the teacher manual as it relates to exploring art. I did not get it from the first one. I probably will. I don't know. I haven't needed it, but I may just, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. We've been doing this for a while now, and I haven't really needed it. But again, that's like that's my background. Anyway, so art in your world, enjoying art. So understanding art, the aesthetics, torn paper phase. Like now we're gonna digest like different mediums and stuff. It's going to go beyond the introductory stage. So exploring art media, the elements of art, the principles of art, you and art, the art critic. So it's going to go over those concepts more in depth here. Then art history and you, drawing, printmaking, painting. So now this one is going to have more of the art appreciation, art production skills, from drawing, painting, architecture, graphic design, photography. So it's going to have the studio and the narrative lessons again, and the elements and principles, the art techniques, art history, and criticism. So that is going to go like a level up from your introducing art stage. And as you can see, like things that weren't really covered or that much in depth in introducing art, like graphic design. So this is like me. Sculpture, crafts, architecture, and for the longest time when my daughter was young, actually both of them, they were really into architecture. Photography, film, video, and computers, and then you have your handbook. All right, so here you have listings of the student studio lessons by media and technique. Again, so if you want to jump to a certain technique or type of lesson, you can definitely do that on here. I am going to tell you that we are currently testing out specific art curricula that would provide more of a challenge for my oldest. I'm not ready to talk about it yet because I need a few lessons under our belt, but I will let you know on that in the future. All right, so here again, it has that same format. So if you already did introducing art, you're gonna know how to use this one as well. So you have art in your world. This one is not a 2007 one like my other one. The one that I had found at the time that matched the teacher guide that I wanted was 1999. So it's pretty old. So as you can see, is not as pop heavy, like the colors are not as like all up in your face all over on here, because this is an older edition, right? So this is the one that I sourced at the time and it was fine. All right, so art in your world portfolio, it will just indicate how you should set up our portfolio. My daughter has had one for a while and my son has one as well. So you have the objectives, and this again looks a little bit different because this is an older edition. So I just, it's a good thing to show you two different editions so you can see how it varies. If you can get the 2007, that's what I would recommend, just because it's nicer words that you will learn, and then you go into the lesson. So if your child gets distracted by too much color in a page, then maybe you do want an older edition, but this is where it varies. Point of view, the studio activity, look once more at the painting in this figure. One of the most interesting things about this painting is this unusual point of view. Using an unexpected point of view can add interest to art. So we're talking about, the POVs and like looking at things in a different angle. So using a pencil, make a drawing of an object well. One possibility might be one of the shoes you are wearing right now. Draw the object as well as you can. Now draw the same object from the point of view of a bug looking up at it. So again, these are really deeply thought and create studio prompts, right? So things that I remember doing with my really great art teachers and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that and being able to find these for these different levels. Then you have the portfolio, choose which drawing you want to consider more interesting, write a brief explanation telling why, and then how to like add it because you put your best work in your portfolio, right? So this is how this one goes, and you have the same elements. It's just the pages look a little bit different. Computer option, because 9 to 9, some throwback, right? Here, try this. You may be able to go online. So I'm saying, and I will probably source the newest one. I don't know, for just to see how it is different. Probably source the newest one just to get some of the updated stuff. But again, you have the making the connections. The internet activity is present, even though it's 1999. And then the chapter reviews. So these things are throughout still having these really good mix of different mediums and different studio activities and different research parts. That's so cool. And here experimenting with shading and techniques and having those step-by-step process. Some of the things, again, you probably want to model with your kiddo if they're not natural in art. But let me show you this exploring art. I have this teacher guide ready available. So this is what you get. So this teacher guide, when you're searching for it, it's going to say Teacher's Wraparound Edition. I do not have the CD. They didn't come with it. None of them ever do, but it's fine. All right, so you have this whole breakdown of the directions and things like that, how you're looking at it. It's going to have the standards from this one's from not to 99, but you have the standards in there. I'm going to skip over that. It's fine. Then here is going to show you what your student is page is laid out. Other features of the student text is going to show you all that stuff. And then the connection, science, math, language arts, music, theater, dance, and it's going to show you how all these connections are being made. And this is some information for you. And then here, like lesson plan, the focus, teach, chapter opener. You have assess, close, bottom column annotations, making art available for oral students. You're not dealing with a classroom. You can do this definitely. You can definitely do this family style if you have kids close in age and you feel like they would get the, sorry, there goes my voice. I have an nodule, so I frequently lose my voice, especially if I've been talking a lot. Anyways, exploring art binder. You're not going to have the binder. You're not going to have the extra things. There is some like fine print transparencies and stuff like that. If you are able to source those, great. I did see some of them used for sale. I didn't feel like I needed it, so I didn't grab that. Just the student text and the teacher manuals. There is a pacing chart that you can go over. This is total days, how it breaks it up. Now remember, this is with in mind that this is a classroom setting. So you know how they would set it up for this lesson, how many total days, and how they would do each part. Like for example, when I said one of the lessons from before would probably like take 2 days and stuff, and then this breaks it down. Well, I'm in that. And then you get into the actual content of it. So you have the same chapters all broken up for you of what your student will be seeing. The media techniques are all there. Let's skip to lesson 1. You have here chapter 1. So here on the side, it's going to give you chapter scan. So it's going to give you like a little short synopsis of here is what you're going to tackle in this chapter: the art of experiencing, examining artworks, artists and ideas, and making a collage. And then it's going to say here's the resources, and it's going to give you information with that. You may not have all the extra goodies, which is fine. And then it's going to have the national standards from 1999. Anyway, so ignore that. There is going to have some feature artists on here. So if you want to really like blow this up and really dive deep and stuff, you can know ahead of time what feature artists you're gonna explore. Maybe you're somebody that's a book basket folk and you want to add some other literature and stuff like that. You will be able to tell right from the get-go as you plan who is going to be featured. There's going to go over the portfolio idea. Right, remember this area, if you've never seen a textbook before, the area in the center is what your student sees. The area in the margins is for you, the teacher. All right, so here's a chapter overview, chapter motivator, students to study an object in the classroom for a short period of time anyways. And it's gonna go over these instructions for you and just helping you engage your child, examining the artwork, some extra information from you. And then if you wanna go ahead and search a certain museum, like for example, National Museum of Women in the Arts, and it's gonna give you some extra tidbits of, taking the lesson further, developing a portfolio inside. So this is how these lessons are broken up. Here you have technology options. It's so cool. For like, haven't seen this page in a while because we're doing the first one with my son. It's 1999, but we did have the internet. Anyways, aesthetics, assessment, all goes into here. And then I want to show you what you see when you have a chapter review, right? And right here is, again, what your student sees. And then here is your answers. So answers right over here for this. So if there's something that you feel like you're not going to know the answers, it's going to be included in the teacher manual. All right, so all that continues like that per lesson. You have that pacing guide and all that stuff. I'm sure more updated one is going to have some extra things as well. Exploring art, and now you have entered understanding art. This is the last course before high school. So this would be, if you follow the progression of it, this will be your 8th grade study. Again, they're all meant to be done for 6th or 8th grade, so you can switch it up if you're more interested in one over the other. All right, so this one is going to be a tad different. This one is going to follow like a historical timeline. So this is how this one differs from the other. So the language of art is the first element. They are going to go over some of those reviews from previous editions using principles of art and all that jazz. And then the media of art, they're going to go over all that in the first couple chapters. So if you decide to jump into this, but you feel like your child still needs review on those general terms and those like basics of art, the fundamentals of art, they are going to go over those things in the first few chapters. And then it's going to get like here in chapter 4, 4, arts of earliest time, arts of the Far East, the art of pre-Columbian America, Greece and Rome, art of India and Islam, art of Africa, art of the Middle Ages, art of the Renaissance, European art, Native American art, European art of the early 1800s, art of the late 19th century, art of the early 20th century, and art of today, which is 1999. Anyways, and then you have the handbook. All right, so you're gonna have, again, that listing studio lessons. I like that I was able to show you an old edition versus a new edition. And at the time, I was just picking the one that was listed as the best condition. So I wasn't really looking at copyright dates. I was looking at the one that says looks the newest, right? Anyway, so acrylic, chalk, clay, computers, computer landscaping drawing, all that stuff. Oh my gosh, do you remember doing that? I remember doing that way back when. Fibers, mixed media, paper, pencil, pen, and charcoal, printmaking, tempera, and watercolor. Again, the same layout as you saw with the other one. Again, like you can see, for me visually, this is great, but I want the 2007. But, I think I got these. I redeemed my free books with thrift books, and that's what I got. So again, it's the same format. I just wanted to kind of show you that. Don't look at this as a history text. I know I'm gonna get asked, oh, is it good? This is art and this is old. Right? This is an old textbook. If you're gonna use these textbook, you're gonna have to do at some point some kind of explanation and stuff like that, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Know how to dissect that, and I think it's an opportunity for discussion. Again, this is ancient China, India, and Mesopotamia. Just to give you a little bit of idea, this is not going to go in like deep history or anything like that. It's just going to be talking about the relations of the art and inspiration based on that particular culture. This is the pre-Columbia one, and it does state that Columbus did not discover anything, and people were living here before that. So that's pretty good for 1999. But again, it does not go any deep into the historical aspects or anything like that. But if you were concerned with that. But this one does connect everything to history and the different cultures and all that jazz. You're going to have a variety of different ones that you're going to explore. Studio options, like here, create a shoebox with a design in the same Rococo style as your shoe. So these are all different types of art mediums. We've arrived at high school. So this one is good for grades 9 to 12. So this is in most high schools a elective and a required one, or a fine arts elective. So this is one that can be done 9, 10, 11, or 12th grade. So I know that in Florida, like they need just like one fine art, but I'm raising an artist, so that's not gonna cut it. But this can go for any year in high school. So you're gonna have these divided by units. The first unit is the world of art. You're gonna have art in your world, and it's gonna have that similar format of what you were used to in the middle school series. Chapter 2, art criticism and aesthetic judgment. So it's really gonna have that higher level of thinking with a high schooler, and kind of just like pushing them a little bit more. Unit 2 is the elements of art. So they're gonna review things that from previous years that maybe they did not grasp. They are going to have some studio projects, and they're going to have more so in this high school text. And also you're going to have the meet the artist part as well, that there's going to be woven in. This is the latest edition for this particular one. Then you can also find the one that says Art in Focus. That's 2006 edition. So it's like a little bit different. Then here, the media and the processes of art. Then you have shape, form, and space, shape of color. Again, you have the student art portfolios and student projects. These are two different things. And then art criticism and action that you can go ahead and dig further, and opportunities for research. You have the principles of art. Textures, again touching on elements of the art portfolio. Then the balance, visual balance, like Meet the Artist Diego Rivera. Informal balance, the expressive qualities of balance. This is going to go really deep into like probably the elements that you took art appreciation in college, right? So art criticism and action, proportions and such. Then you have here for the next unit, art through the ages. So it's kind of encompassing all three of those middle school levels, obviously compressing them. but then you're spanning further into a higher level, right? So chapter 11 will be variety and emphasis of harmony and unity, Western traditions in art, careers in art, and you have the handbook and technique tips and such with that part. So here you'll see, and this is a pretty, it seems like, oh, there's only this many chapters, but it's gonna take you, again, a school year. If you would like to compress this and more frequently during the week, it maybe can be done in a semester, but you're gonna be doing a lot of it. And you don't have to do everything. So here is Time Art Scene, and it's going to show you, like, for example, visual art tours, friendly art rivals, the art of books, what's my line, and all these different things. And then here's looking closer at each chapter, meet the artist, art criticism and action. So you can go straight to these different features, and it's gonna be divided into those different areas. So art criticism and room by Lucas Samaras. Again, then you have the activities and listing of studio projects by media. So again, if you want to jump to a particular media, you can go ahead and do so here. Now we Meadow art since like last year, so we're probably going to be done with everything they currently have to offer. So I wanted to check out something else that I could have after it. So this is why we get this, but also I can combine this with what I do with Oak Meadow Art, which is, Oak Meadow art lessons are pretty rad, and I reviewed one of them. I'll review another one in the near future for high school. You can take a look at those. I'll link that in the description box below. So here is how the chapters are divided here with a portrait here, and then just like before, so art in your world. You go into what you're going to be learning about in this chapter, and then focus on art history. And here is going to pull in that historical element, and they can go ahead and connect that to other studies or other things. Again, like for me, we are blenders, so to me, every curricula is a resource. It's not something that I map and use as is. But this is provides me with a lot of stuff to have on hand to build on a lesson block and such. So vocabulary is going to be on the side. Then you have your narrative readings, art and communication. Then you have a next art. Again, art as a lifelong pursuit. Check your understanding. And then you go into your next lesson. Where do artists get their ideas, and explores those parts. Meet the artist into those, and some famous art and some lesser known one as well. People in real world events, myths and legends, spiritual and religious beliefs, creative technique, and of course these are all secular. So you're looking at religion, academic eye. So artists in the past, ideas of your own artwork. So in here, for example, in the coming chapters, you will need to come up with ideas of your own original works of art. Like other artists, you may at times find yourself at loss for ideas. You can look to the sources listed in this lesson for inspiration. The work of your peers can also inspire you and such. Anyway, so activity here is keeping a sketchbook. I want to show you one of the activities more specifically further in, but I just wanted to show you that that is included in there. And there's activities basically throughout each and every lesson, and some connections as well. You have here art criticism and action, critiquing artwork, describe, analyze, interpret, and judge. And this is something they review also in middle school, but then they go on practice it here. So let me just skip on forward. Here you have those connections with other subjects like you did before, math, science, history, the social studies and such. And for example, this is a connection with math because it's doing with our architectural. Here for this, working with intensity, so applying your skills. Contrary to what you may have thought, tree trunks are not really brown. They reflect a variety of light and dark low intensity grays. Draw 7 or more bare trees on a large sheet of white paper. Use real trees as models if possible, and not find photographs. Combine varying amounts of one primary colors and in black to create number of different low intensity light and dark valley colors. So this is going beyond those skills that you learn in middle school or even elementary and such, and is going into deeper. So using color schemes, and such. And then let me show you just a couple of more things in here with besides the activity studio project. So you have the activities that are like mini activities throughout every chapter or lesson, and then you have these that are studio projects, so mood painting. So these are going to take you or take your child a bit longer to accomplish. So historical and cultural context, what you will learn, and then creating. So this is like the lesson, and then here's the creating, and then evaluating their work as well. So creating, step 1, using watercolors and sheets of scrap paper, practice mixing complementary colors to create low intensity and high intensity colors and such. And it goes into step by step for that, for creating that, and brainstorming the idea. So brainstorm happy or sad moments in your life. Think about objects you can associate with these events. So again, that deeper level of thinking and such. And then these are divided on, so this is Studio Project 6.2, Studio Project 6.1. So you have all these to choose from, and then it has the supplies listed there of what you will need, so you're not going into it blind. Digital color collage and such, and then you have portfolio stuff. All right, so all that is included, and then with the chapter reviews, and that continues on. And then you have, I mean, we could be here all day just on this one book. You have the index that is pretty helpful as well. Now, the teacher manual for the high school course, again, I would always match those up to the edition that you have the student text in, just to make your life easier. This one's pretty cool. I like how it's like tagged differently. So as you can see, these are cut. So you can easily find it. So here's the teacher manual, and then the table of contents is where you start off with your lessons. So for example, you're going to see all the credits, everything given here. You're going to see lively, inviting, comprehensive art program written and designed for beginning and advanced levels of art classes. So you're going to be able to touch in all levels in this one course, whether you have a child that is an artist and the other one is not, or whatever it may be. You'll be able to dig into this and also teach this. If you have multiple high schoolers that you're homeschooling, they can use this at the same time. Again, you have the student edition is going to break down how to read the student edition and what it offers. So we already went and looked at that. So the focus, the objectives, the lesson plans, and all that jazz. And then you have some extra resources that if you get your hands on it, great. If not, then, you know, everything you pretty much need is in here. You have inclusion strategies. That's for classrooms, so you don't need to worry about that. National standards, unless you really want to know that, then you don't need to really worry about that. And then safety, again, the same thing that you saw in the middle school text. And then you start with the table of contents, and we already looked at that. So you can see also things divided by different tasks, like the activities, the studio projects, by media, so you can jump on that. Again, this is what the student sees. This is information for you. So you have the overview, the breakup of every chapter, units, resources, introducing the unit. So this is how you open a lesson and stuff, if you want to use it as a script or not. Then the quick write. So those quick writes are still part of the high school levels. And then the museum that they're going to be investigating and stuff like that, and the historical and cultural connection, and teaching with that level as well. Here you also are going to have a pacing guide and a planning guide, and that's part of your teacher manual. So feature artists is going to see a list of those. So if you want to prepare additional materials ahead of time, you can go ahead and do so. Key to ability levels. So here you're going to see teaching strategies that have been coded. These are the multiple linking to the performing arts. That is also something that is scanned through, and it gives you additional information and your answers right here to things that you may need as you discuss or are checking their work. And this continues quite a bit of information that you get with the activities and helps, and just, you know, to make this a more well-rounded course instead of your child looking at, to me, when you just get a student book, you're basically almost using it as a workbook. The teacher guide is what helps you make it truly a lesson, unless this is your strength and you can do it on your own, which for the most part, like I said, I don't have the teacher guide for the first one because it's a strength of mine, but this element helps you really make it a well-rounded study, instead of just like looking at things as bite-sized. Again, you have like learning resources, reproducible materials that you're not going to have, but I just wanted to show you a closer look at the high school teacher manual. And again, you're going to have all those elements throughout, and as you can see, this is going to take you the full school year unless you really are diligent and try to compress this into a lesser amount of time, which, you know, in actuality, a lot of the art courses are done in a semester, but then it's done in like a block of time. So it is possible with everything else you have going on. It's, you know, it's easy to just like span it over the year. And that is that with that. So again, comprehensive coverage of elements and principles of art, digital media handbook, field tested studio projects, including digital studio projects, art portfolios, and careers as well. So that is everything, my friends. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next time.
Oh, man.